Another day of sifting through the city's finances, why questions are being raised about where some of the money should be coming from. Wanted on a warrant, why the owner of a former Saskatoon construction company is facing charges. And a proposal to use less plastic, how Saskatoon students are hoping to get grocery stores on board.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight at City Hall, where Council spent another day going through the numbers. The list of ways to lower your property taxes was a long one, but as Keenan Sorokon explains, costs are still going up.
Saskatoon's upcoming property tax increase has been reduced by 1%, but it's still going to cost you depending on the services you use.
The way this is going, we're going to be here for many days.
Council saved residents millions of dollars on their tax bill, largely from adjustments, moving money around to different reserves, and passing more fees on to residents.
They pay their taxes, they should get service in order to do this.
Going to the landfill for even a small amount of household items will cost $20. Parking tickets, like being in a loading zone or one area for too long, are going up $10, and the city will now begin charging $75 to clear out blocked sewer lines, even if it's clogged from roots from a city tree.
The only reason that service exists is for the property. So it really is council's decision.
And they're also paying taxes. So putting this on the taxpayer, I think to me is not reasonable.
That service was free to residents, and passing on a number of specific fees was a theme of Wednesday's meeting.
I mean, there are user fees that are very specific for a very specific purpose. Is it fair the rest of the city pays for that fee? That's discussion points, right?
Council managed to make it through 43 of the 108 items to reduce. One place councillors voted to keep spending was on youth initiatives like free city programming to kids and a sustainability program in schools the city contributes towards.
Anything that would harm access for kids to have places to go that are healthy, I won't be supporting.
Saskatoon's upcoming property tax increase has been reduced to 6.43% for 2026 and 5.75% for 2027, with more than half of the list and many other reports to go, as council has signaled their intention to stay here into the night on Thursday. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Meanwhile, Council is turning up the heat on the province to open its wallet. During budget talks, groups like the Police Service, SaskTel Centre, and the Public Library lined up to make their funding pitches, with councillors looking at provincial support and asking how much money the province is kicking in. Today, Councillor Randy Donauer gave the Ramey Moderns some pointed advice. Get connected with provincial cabinet ministers.
The Premier and his party did signal this past month at their convention that they want to win back some seats in Saskatoon, and I'm not going to enter into the political fray about whether they will or not. I'm just saying they've signaled that they're looking to do something in Saskatoon. I would encourage your board to step forward.
Donauer says there's a big gap between how much money Regina gets from the province compared to Saskatoon, and that needs to change. CTV News has contacted the provincial government for comment. The city of Saskatoon doesn't know the full cost of homelessness. Even with 1,700 pages of budget material, administration only has some information, including shelter costs and what's needed to run public washrooms. But council wants the total price tag to include things like security and encampment cleanups. Councillor Bev Dubois wants a complete picture.
And I wanted all of the costs, so this just doesn't give me at all what I was looking for.
We've all struggled with and wrestled with is, the question of what is the cost to the residents of Saskatoon of the ongoing homelessness crisis.
The city manager says a report will be put together by tomorrow morning. It was a frosty start to the morning.
It certainly was. Freezing fog out there, Chantel, cold conditions, and we are going to be seeing even colder daytime highs as we make our way into the weekend and some parts of next week. Next week, there's a bit of a break for some locations, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Basically, what we're talking about is a fairly quiet situation across the prairies in terms of active weather. Now, the cold Arctic air, that's still coming on down, and the price is right for them. So not so much for the rest of us because it's going to be cold, but we'll talk about that later on.
A former Saskatoon business owner accused of defrauding his customers has turned himself into police. A warrant was issued for his arrest earlier today. Police allege he took money for construction projects and then disappeared. CTV's Stacey Hine with those details.
RCMP began investigating 42-year-old Jason Pasick and his business nearly 2 years ago after customers reported being scammed out of thousands of dollars. Now he's been arrested and is facing 2 fraud charges, including 1 count of fraud over $5,000. Pasick ran Prairie Timber Group, a business offering custom timber homes and structures. RCMP say customers reported signing a contract with his company, but once payments were sent, they could no longer contact him and did not receive the projects they paid for. Police say Pasick told customers he was affiliated with a reputable timber company based in Ontario. Last year, several people spoke with CTV News about their experiences with Pasick and his business between mid-2020 and early 2021. Many described a positive first meeting, but once funds were transferred, they gradually lost contact with Pasick. Some former customers say they lost up to $90,000. RCMP believe there may be more victims that have yet to be identified. Pasick is scheduled to appear in Saskatoon Provincial Court on January 21st. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Prince Albert police are investigating after someone reported inappropriate behavior by a taxi driver that is getting a lot of attention online. The post to Facebook alleges that a taxi driver exposed themselves to a customer during a ride over the weekend. Prince Albert police say they began investigating after receiving a complaint about the incident, and a video related to the incident was posted to Facebook. The manager of Checker and Family Taxi told CTV News that the driver has been removed from the road while the investigation is being done, and that video from the taxi has been handed over to police. One person has died and another seriously injured following a crash south of Prince Albert. Emergency crews were called to the crash on Highway 3 South near Davis Road at about 6 o'clock last night. Parkland Ambulance says one person was declared dead at the scene. Another person, a 42-year-old man, was taken to hospital with serious injuries. About 45 minutes later, paramedics responded to another crash on Highway 3 near the first one. No one was injured, and it's not clear if the second crash happened while vehicles were detoured around the first crash. But Parkland Ambulance is reminding drivers to slow down when passing emergency vehicles and be careful when passing by a crash scene. The Ministry of Health is warning that a potent opioid is being sold as fentanyl in Saskatoon. It says Prairie Harm Reduction has found carfentanil in brown chunks being passed off as fentanyl. So far, 2 people have overdosed on it. Carfentanil is 100 times stronger than fentanyl. It comes as the Saskatoon Fire Department is responding to multiple overdoses each day, with 2 deaths reported earlier this month. Drought-stricken farmers from southwestern Saskatchewan are calling on the province for some help. Some have had poor crops for 9 consecutive years and say they can't hold on much longer. Wayne Mantika reports.
It was another year of poor crops in southwest Saskatchewan near the Alberta border. Some farmers reported yields of only 10 bushels to the acre. It's a drought that has lasted for 9 years.
I have 1 section of land. I did 6 rounds of herbicide on it. Still collected crop insurance on it. I would have been way better off to not even seed that field.
Farmers from the RMs of Big Stick, Fox Valley, and Richmond went to the legislative building to seek changes to crop insurance. They say the program isn't designed for multiple years of poor crops.
So crop insurance, basically how it works is every year you claim, your yield average drops. So let's say I started out at 30 bushels per acre and I had a claim, it would probably drop for the next year, and it continues on a downward spiral.
The NDP made the farmers' case during question period in the legislature.
Mr. Speaker, these RMs have been devastated by years of consecutive drought, and the current crop insurance programs, they simply don't provide the supports that are needed.
The government says it's willing to listen, but believes crop insurance is working.
In our province over the last 4 years, there's been about $7 billion that has been paid out to Saskatchewan producers.
Crop insurance says there are provisions in place to handle situations like the one in the Southwest.
All crop insurance can do is provide that yield-based support for what they've proven to grow. Yield cushioning does support that. There is other programs available like agri-stability.
The producers predict that 2026 could be a make-or-break year in their region. They say that if the drought continues for a 10th consecutive year without changes to crop insurance, at least half will go out of business. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Premier Scott Moe says the province will sign a new $10 a day childcare deal with Ottawa by the end of the week.
I'm happy to say that we have come to agreement with the federal government with Mr. Speaker. We'll be renewing that 5-year agreement, Mr. Speaker, and we'll be signing that Friday with the federal government.
Talks between the province and the federal government have been held over the last few months. Ottawa's childcare agreement with the province was set to expire at the end of March. Saskatchewan is the second last province in the country to sign on, leaving only Alberta without an extension. Saskatchewan's NDP is joining leaders from northern Indigenous communities calling for more help to tackle rising crime, drug use, and long wait times for addiction treatment. NDP MLA Leroy Laliberte stood with councillors from Clearwater River, Dene Nation, and Birch Narrows today to call on the provincial government to do more, saying they don't feel safe as crime and drug problems are getting worse, and are calling for better support for policing, addiction treatment, and community safety.
The initiatives that were brought forward and give them the tools that they need to be able to support their community members, they haven't received it. It's 18 years since we had the Sask Party government in power, and they're still looking to see if they could get these resources needed to tackle these issues in their community.
The government hasn't responded directly to these calls, but has previously said it is investing in mental health and addiction services across the province. The federal government is hoping its gun buyback program for recently prohibited firearms can help tackle gun violence. But the Saskatchewan government feels the program doesn't provide fair compensation to gun owners and is proposing its own legislation. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more.
We go through a significant amount of training to get a license to own firearms.
Cash Tactical Supply takes pride in providing a space for firearm owners.
This is people's passion, their hobby, hunting, fishing, sport shooting. You know, everyone, they love the outdoor space.
However, since Canada's assault-style firearms compensation program started in 2020, the Regina business continues to feel the effects.
We've had to take inventory that we've paid for off the wall, and that's a sunk cost to a business.
The federal government is looking to extend its buyback program, providing financial compensation to gun owners who submit their firearms in an effort to prevent gun violence. The province is pushing back by amending its own Firearms Act, proposing that anyone who seizes a gun under new federal laws must pay the owner fair market value set by the Saskatchewan Firearms Commissioner.
One of the things that we're looking at here is making sure that as a public safety measure, that we make sure that people want to be in compliance. And of course, one of the things to be in compliance is getting paid.
Adding, the Saskatchewan Firearms Office will have the ability to collect and store firearms for gun owners who voluntarily turn them in to prevent criminal charges for possessing prohibited weapons while any compensation is pursued.
So it's really nice to see that the provincial government is ensuring that if these firearms are stolen from law-abiding citizens by the federal government, that they are at least compensated fairly for it.
Although the federal program is voluntary, Public Safety Canada's website states that businesses must dispose or permanently deactivate assault-style firearms before the amnesty period expires in October of next year, or there will be a risk of criminal liability. CTV News has reached out to Public Safety Canada for comment, but did not hear back in time for broadcast. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Students at a local school are launching their own sustainability campaign, and they're hoping grocery stores and the community will listen. Carla Shinkrick has their story.
I see you've got a pretty cool picture on your envelope.
In this small classroom, some big ideas are being taught. This one is about responsibility and the power of young voices coming together.
If we learn it when we're younger, then we can continue to do it as adults.
And what these grade 3-4s are learning is how to protect the environment, one plastic bottle at a time.
If there's too much garbage, the ecosystem and a lot of plants and animals would go endangered.
Their teacher came up with the assignment to have students develop a campaign to take to grocery store managers.
It's about empowering these individuals at a young age to start thinking mindfully about their actions and how they can bring about change in the communities.
They hand-delivered letters asking the managers to create refill stations for items like soap or sugar.
To add a section in the store for customers to refill the containers.
So then they could refill their bottle every time that they need more instead of buying more bottles, which makes more plastic.
Their pitch also included asking stores to purchase fewer items in plastic containers or wrap.
How's your letter coming along?
Even at their age, these students know that change isn't easy, but can be possible.
Give it a try. You may like it, you may not, but you just gotta be flexible and try it.
They're the ones that need to have a voice and be able to articulate the needs that need to be brought about so that we can have a more sustainable future.
So while this may be classroom work, it has the potential to extend far beyond these walls. Carla Shinkirk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The Prince Albert Raiders have had a strong start to the WHL season, only losing one game in regulation time so far. Hallie Mandrick has more on how the team is feeling about their recent success.
The WHL season has been underway for just over 2 months, and the Prince Albert Raiders are making a serious case to be a championship contender.
Towards the middle for Harvey. Harvey gets it back. Now it comes back to too many men on the ice. There is 6 weeks.
The start that we've had is due to, the work that this group has put in from a team perspective to a staff perspective. Just a lot of hard hours. Guys have really fell in love with the details. And again, it's led to a lot of tremendous success for us.
The team has only lost 5 games this season and only 1 in regulation. They came on the U.S. road trip against Tri-City. They have the best percentage in the league and are only 2 points back of Edmonton for the top spot in the Eastern Conference and have played 5 less games. While the Raiders certainly have momentum on their side, the players say they're still taking it 1 game at a time.
Our goal is just the next game. I think that's always been our mindset, just win the next one. And, we do everything we can to prepare for that next one. I think that's just our smallest goal right now is just the little steps.
The Raiders say the support of the Prince Albert community has certainly made an impact on their team.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a smaller city, so I think the whole city watches, and you go out in public and people will say good job and keep it going, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
At the gate, the Raiders have been getting some near sellouts for attendance this season. Coach McDonald adds that the connection between his team and the community they represent hits very close to home.
As a person who's born and raised in Prince Albert, being able to watch our group when they are in the community and just how admired they are by the young athletes and young kids within the community is just something truly special that I hold near and dear to my heart.
The team will be traveling to face off against the Brandon Wheat Kings on Friday evening before returning home to face Medicine Hat on Saturday. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The deadline to nominate someone for our Saskatoon Citizen of the Year award presented by CTV is quickly approaching. A reminder, nomination guidelines are available here at CTV Saskatoon or on our website. The deadline to submit your nomination is Friday, December 5th, so please make sure to take the time to nominate someone making a difference in our community, and we will announce this year's recipient on December 31st. Still to come, the latest on the divided pipeline discussions. Also, Ottawa's new commitment to industry struggling in the wake of U.S. tariffs. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Prime Minister announced an economic lifeline for Canada's steel industry today, which is coping with 50% import tariffs from the U.S. that have pushed the sector to the brink. Judy Trin reports.
After enduring half a year of Donald Trump's 50% tariffs, Canada's steel industry is teetering on the edge.
Our order books are not being filled up at this moment because nobody's investing. It's such a real perilous time.
We must protect our workers and our industries who are most exposed to U.S. tariffs.
The Liberal government is introducing new measures to reduce the amount of foreign steel. The countries that Canada does not have a free trade agreement with will face lower quotas. Steel from countries like China, Taiwan, India, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates will now be limited to 20% of what they sold to Canada in 2024. The government estimates that could boost domestic steel sales by $850 million. Other countries with free trade agreements will be capped at 75% of what they sold last year. But U.S. imports won't be capped. But all American steel products will continue to face 25% tariffs.
This government will do whatever it takes to protect our sectors and not just protect them, but to help them reposition for the new global economy.
The government will also subsidize the cost of transporting steel and lumber by rail across the country. Internationally, when it comes to big defense procurements like submarines, Canada will continue making Buy Canadian a requirement.
We will absolutely make sure that there are steel and aluminum and sometimes, depending, lumber requirements, because we need to protect jobs in these tariff sectors.
Those were the carrots, but there's also a stick. The government announced it will end remissions or refunds for Canadian companies impacted by U.S. tariffs by January 31st. Mark Carney also said that he spoke with President Trump last night and that he will be headed to Washington next week as part of FIFA World Cup events. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Prime Minister is also expected to announce the framework for a new pipeline tomorrow that would run from Alberta to Canada's west coast. But there are still obstacles to overcome and apprehension to soothe. CTV's Abigail Beeman has that story.
What's your message to BCMPs concerned about the pipeline?
No comment from the Prime Minister this morning on potential caucus discord over a pipeline to the BC coast and an agreement with Alberta expected to be announced Thursday.
We enjoy a very open and engaged dialogue.
Very good conversation.
And few words from the Energy Minister, who started his day briefing those BCMPs on what's to come.
Were you reassured by Mr. Hodgson this morning?
Details on both the meeting and what's in tomorrow's announcement scant.
It's premature, irresponsible for anybody to talk about, what people think and who's saying what until there is something that's on paper.
With some MPs, including the caucus chair, insisting everything is fine.
I support the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister has a vision, and something really good will come out of this tomorrow.
Everybody's happy, honestly.
But the former Environment Minister wouldn't answer when asked multiple times if he was mulling over quitting. And many BC MPs wouldn't stop to talk. This pair, including Vancouver's former mayor, walked by silently 3 times.
You've got BC bought in, you've got First Nations leadership bought in, and First Nations communities bought in is the minimum expectation.
The memorandum of understanding that we're negotiating with Alberta creates necessary conditions, but not sufficient conditions.
That was an oxymoron statement if I ever heard one. I don't understand what it meant. It's just, I don't think regular Canadians will understand what that means.
In addition to any potential pipeline opposition that may or may not be bubbling inside caucus, it very much exists from coastal BC First Nations and BC's Premier, who said it's unacceptable his province hasn't been involved in the talks. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
We are following a developing story out of Washington, D.C., where 2 U.S. National Guard troops were seriously hurt in a shooting this afternoon.
The suspect came around the corner. He immediately started firing a firearm at the 2 National Guard members. So at that time, there were other National Guard members that were in the area. They heard the gunfire. They actually were able to intervene and to kind of hold down the suspect after he had been shot on the ground until law enforcement got there within moments.
There's no word on a motive, while the suspect and the 2 National Guardsmen from West Virginia remain in hospital. National Guard troops have been stationed in the U.S. Capitol and other cities in what the administration has presented as a crime-fighting mission. Several judges have ruled the deployments are unlawful, but President Trump has requested that 500 more troops be sent into D.C. while appealing. U.S. President Donald Trump says he is sending one of his top envoys to Moscow to discuss the U.S.-backed proposal to end the war in Ukraine.
We're having good talks. We started with Russia. We're having some talks with Russia. Ukraine is doing well. I think they're pretty happy about it. They'd like to see
Trump said he would send Steve Witkoff to speak directly with Russian President Vladimir Putin. This comes after it emerged that Witkoff advised a senior aide to Putin on how to pitch the U.S. president on a Ukraine peace plan. The comments were in a transcript reviewed by Bloomberg News. The White House characterized Witkoff's interaction with the Russians as standard negotiating procedure. The proposed U.S. peace plan would see Ukraine hand over territory in its east to Russia. It would also require the country to reduce the size of its military and prevent Ukraine from joining NATO. At least 36 people have been killed and nearly 300 others are missing after Hong Kong's deadliest fire in nearly 3 decades. Flames and smoke were still visible several hours after a fire broke out at a 32-story residential tower. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, although authorities noted the towers were covered in flammable bamboo scaffolding. Local media in Hong Kong are reporting 3 men have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter.
I'm Sheila Bolliott from the Saskatoon Spinners and Weavers Guild. We are having our annual sale on the 28th from 4 p.m. till 8:30 p.m., on the 29th from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., and the 30th from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. The sale will be held at the Mennonite Central Committee Building, which is at the corner of Avenue C and Port of Biss Street. So, Jeb, what's the weather going to be like?
Well, Sheila will concentrate on the first night of the annual event. I shouldn't say annual event because I think it happens every couple of years. But yes, the big Spinners and Weavers event, and this year including a gala on the Friday evening. I don't know if there's still tickets still available for that. But Friday, the show times, as you noticed, heard from Sheila, between 4 and 8:30. The temperature midday is going to be around -9 degrees, but there's slight chance of some flurries. For more information, SaskatoonSWG.ca is the website to go to. Now on to our numbers for today. We're starting off with our current temperatures. -9 degrees in Saskatoon. Some fog out there again. -7 in Prince Albert. Some light flurries in the area. But clear skies in the Battlefords. -12 degrees. So an interesting mix of sky conditions across the region, but not much in the way of wind. Saskatoon's almanac, well, it was cold. -9 degrees. Typically, we should be around -5. 12 degrees on the plus side. 1962. Yes, for the 3rd day in a row, the temperatures are from 19. The record temperatures are from 1962. So when Wolfman Jack says, where were you in 62? Well, in Saskatoon, you could have been outside in flip-flops and shorts back then. And -34 in 1892, the cold temperature record on this date. And the sun went down at 5:02.
Coming up, a piece of the past on display in Saskatchewan. A look at the Sikh artifacts that have made their way to our province from India.
The NDP is railing against rental rates in this province. Thursday on Your Morning, we are in conversation with the NDP leader about what they've learned and what they do differently.
Okay, well, technically speaking, this is University Drive. It's College Drive, the university area. But yes, it's camera obscura right now. It's very foggy, and we do have this, we don't have a fog warning in place right now. I checked, well, put it this way. There may be a fog warning, at least according to Environment Canada, but our weather icons aren't picking it up. But nonetheless, doesn't matter if there's a warning or not. It's foggy. We have got ourselves relatively quiet conditions, cold Arctic air moving down, but of course we got this fog. And it's not just Saskatchewan, into parts of Alberta as well. Keeping our eye on this rain that's moving into parts of southern British Columbia and then parts of the American Pacific Northwest. A wet Thanksgiving Day for some parts of the U.S. of A. So foggy conditions in Saskatoon, -9, -7 with flurries in Prince Albert, and -12 under clear skies in the Battlefords. The hot spot and the cold spot, well, for the first time in a long time, they are both on the minus side of the thermometer. Lucky Lake, the hot spot, if we can call it that, at -1, -22 in Coronach. That is the cold spot for Saskatchewan today. -10 right now in Lloydminster, -11 in Swift Current, -7 in both Moose Jaw and Regina, -9 in Estevan, and -10 in Yorkton. Into central parts of the province, temperatures ranging from -12 right there in the Battlefords up to -7 in a number of communities, but most places in and around that -8 degree mark. Wynyard's in at -10. Up north, temperatures do not drop off all that much compared to central Saskatchewan. It's -11 in Key Lake right now. It warms up to -7 in both La Ronge and Sandy Bay Island Falls. And down south, any plus temperatures? Nope. We've got ourselves temperatures that range from -7 in Leader and Last Mountain Regional Park and Broadview down to -14. That is in Coronach. Not a surprise given that they were the provincial cold spot today, rather. Our futurecast, well, the computer modeling indicating, first of all, those pressure lines are staying fairly far apart, so we do not anticipate a lot in the in terms of wind, at least in Saskatchewan. A different story along the foothills of Alberta. And also, we don't see a lot in the way of purple or pink or green, so we're not expecting much in the way of precipitation. Cloudy skies in northern Saskatchewan, -9 for La Ronge and Buffalo Narrows, -12 for Stony Rapids and Key Lake. Into west central Saskatchewan, temperatures hovering around that 7 or 8 degree mark on the minus side. A chance of some flurries in Meadow Lake on Thursday. Mainly cloudy skies in the southwest with temperatures hovering around -5 degrees. Not much temperature change. A mix of sky conditions, fog in Regina and Estevan tomorrow. But again, basically around -6, -7 degrees. And that's pretty much the case for east central Saskatchewan with mainly cloudy skies in Melfort, Watrous, and Humboldt. Mainly sunny conditions in Hudson Bay. Dropping down to -17 in the Battlefords with fog patches tonight. Cloudy skies tomorrow, high of -9. And then into the minus double digits for 3 days. And then Monday and Tuesday, seasonal temperatures of -8 degrees. A chance of flurries on Tuesday. For Prince Albert, an overnight temperature of -13 degrees. Tomorrow's high, -9. And then -10 on Friday, cooling off to -13 by Sunday, bouncing back, but not by much on Monday, and cooling off to -15 on Wednesday. And Saskatoon, partly cloudy skies with fog patches overnight. Well, the fog we've got is going to be lingering into tomorrow, but it will dissipate. -8 degrees, winds out of the south at 10. And then -9 with a chance of flurries on Friday, -12 on Saturday, Sunday -13. Close to seasonal temperatures, well, seasonal temperatures on Monday and Tuesday, let's say that, but -13 1 week from today. Canadian rocker Bryan Adams is releasing a new album in time for the holidays featuring Canadian artists, including Saskatoon's The Sheepdogs. California Christmas is the first single off the Great Big Holiday Jam album. The song was recorded in Vancouver and is available now. In addition to The Sheepdogs, the Canadian cast also includes Alessia Cara, Alan Doyle, and Bare Naked Ladies. The Sheepdogs are featured on a handful of tracks on the album. Great Big Holiday Jam is being released Monday, December 8th. Legendary heavy metal band Megadeth is coming to Saskatoon. It's part of a North American tour to support what the band is calling their final studio album, which hit stores in January. The Grammy Award-winning band has sold over 50 million albums. They are scheduled to play Sasktel Centre February 24th. Tickets go on sale Friday through livenation.com. It's been a very busy day of bidding as memorabilia spanning the life and career of Canadian folk legend Gordon Lightfoot went up for auction today in Toronto. The items on offer also included pieces from the latter part of the music's great careers. More than 300 lots were snapped up over the 6-hour auction, which took place online and in person at the auction house. Proceeds went to Lightfoot's estate. The top item was Lightfoot's performance guitar, which sold for $380,000.
A nice Christmas gift for
Yeah, exactly. A nice chunk of change. Yeah. Here we go.
All right, you got some nice photos of the day for us?
Yeah, we sure do. We have a nice selection here. We're going to start off with this one. This one comes to us from Donna, and this is in the bigger area. Sunrise glowing off the clouds is what she says, and it's an apt description, so a lovely shot there. Thank you so much, Donna. Next one comes to us from Kendra. This was taken this weekend at my grandparents' farm in Firdale. It's a pileated woodpecker. It looks like Woody Woodpecker. So there you go. A great shot there, too. Yeah, sometimes they go crazy on the power poles, not knowing that actually when they knock on power poles, they're not looking for food. They're saying, hey, I'm here. Get out of my way. You other woodpeckers, stay away. That's what they're saying. Anyhow, next question. Next picture. Finally, this comes to us from Pat. Hello, Jeff. This is my neighbor Herb's light display on McWillie Avenue in Saskatoon. Looks great. And I totally agree. That is a great light display. And thank you, Pat, for sharing that with us. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca, or you can scan the QR code on the screen and send us those pictures.
Still to come on CTV News, an exhibit of artifacts on display, how Saskatchewan Sikhs are proudly sharing their heritage. Sikh history was on display at the Legislative Building today as an exhibit marking hundreds of years of history made an appearance. CTV's Damien Smith has more on the artifacts and their significance to the province's Sikh community.
A notable day for the Sikh community in Saskatchewan with historic artifacts on display at the Legislative Building. It includes various decrees, also known as hukamnamas, from prominent Sikh leaders, as well as weapons used at various points throughout Sikh history.
These artifacts are used in the battlefields, like the sword given by Baba Banda Singh Bahadur to Bhai Roop Chand family in 17th century after conquering the Sarhand at that time.
Bhai Bhuta Singh Ji is the keeper of the artifacts and is the 13th descendant of the original custodian of the Guru's gift repository, beginning with the 6th Guru.
These artifacts are got a personal touch from our Sikh Gurus, and these artifacts hold a really high respect in the hearts of Sikhs.
These are a few of 150 artifacts that Bhai Bhuta Singh Ji has to take care of, and these artifacts displayed today were relevant from the years of 1614 to 1710. According to Stats Canada, Sikhs make up 0.8% of Saskatchewan's population. Those in the community are grateful for having the chance to share their heritage in the Legislative Building, calling it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
If these artifacts are being showed at the Legislative Assembly, it shows the commitment of Government of Saskatchewan.
And to show our culture and to encourage our young generation to keep our history alive.
The artifacts will make a brief stop in Saskatoon before returning to India. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
When we come back, a U of S Husky signs on the dotted line. And later, what sparked a last-minute change for the Olympic flame.
All right, welcome back. We're taking a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow. There's chances of flurries up around Meadow Lake and other parts of the province, but for the most part, it's not expected to be a widespread storm or anything like that. Cloudy skies in Lloydminster and Spiritwood, both locations hitting -9 degrees. Relatively warm conditions for Kindersley and Outlook at -6 tomorrow. The same is true for Watrous. -7 in Hudson Bay and Wynyard. Hudson Bay a bit more in the way of sunshine. And then we make our way into southern Saskatchewan, where some of that fog is going to be lingering in the morning. morning. Maybe it might linger into the afternoon. We're not quite sure yet. But we can tell you the temperatures don't really range all that much. -4 for the warmest part of the province in Maple Creek. And everyone else sort of around that -7 degree mark. So that's how things are shaping up for that part of the province. And -8 degrees in Blaine Lake for tomorrow. Winds out of the southeast. And speaking of tomorrow night at the Composite High School, they're showing The Grinch. I believe showtime is 6:30 in Blaine Lake. And Blaine Lake is one of the many communities where internet packages of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The graduating University of Saskatchewan Huskies football player knows where he'll play next year.
Extra protection for Gonzalez. He's in trouble, and Hundeby sacks the Montreal quarterback.
Linebacker Seth Hundeby signed a contract with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hundeby capped off his Huskies career with the 2025 U Sports President's Trophy for Best Defensive Player in the country. He's a 2-time U Sports First Team All-Canadian, and he led the Canada West Conference with 6 tackles for loss this year. Hundeby was picked by the Riders in the 4th round of the 2025 CFL Draft. The Canadian Western Agribition is in full swing this week, and in order to make it one of the largest agricultural events in North America, 54 years running, a lot of hands are required. Hundreds of volunteers are required each year to make such a large-scale event run smoothly. According to the Agribition's chair of the volunteer committee, this year's edition has more than 425 volunteers divided into 17 different communities.
Originally, I was recruited to help set up the International Business Center at Agribition. That was back in 1989. And I swear they put something in your blood or in your drink when you get here, because you get the passion for the show, and you come back every year to volunteer.
Holly says all of the volunteers at Agribition are passionate about giving back and seeing the event succeed year after year. Apple is about to become the world's largest smartphone maker, a title it hasn't had for more than a decade. Morella Fernandez explains.
Apple's new iPhone 17 is propelling the company to regain that title and beat Samsung for the first time since 2011. The 17 is being snapped up by consumers in the U.S. and China, 2 key markets. Apple will ship around 243 million iPhones this year. Samsung, about 235 million. This is coming from Counterpoint Research. It means Apple will end up with just over 19% of the smartphone market. Samsung, just over 18.5%. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 71.23. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 58.65. Western Canadian Select is down to 45.34. And the TSX gained another 279 points today for another record close, moving over 31,000 for the first time. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Coming up, the Olympic flame forced to pivot to look at its travels. And taking a swing at a piece of World Series history.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the Beauty Bar.
Stay with us for another great night of television starting tonight at 7 with Shifting Gears. Well, the Olympic flame has begun a journey that will take it across Italy ahead of the Milano Cortina Winter Games. Bad weather in Greece forced the flame lighting ceremony indoors. It also forced organizers to use a backup flame that was sparked during Monday's rehearsal. Over the next few months, 10,000 runners will carry the torch across Italy ahead of the competition that runs from February 6th to the 22nd. So.
Hey, Stavros, get the backup flame. Yeah. This one's not working.
Had to pivot, to be fast on their feet. All right, well, Blue Jays fans who are willing to pay up can take a swing at a piece of World Series history. The ball that Addison Barger hit for a grand slam is going up for auction. It was the first ever pinch hit base clearing home run in World Series history. The person who caught the ball is putting it up for sale through Sotheby's. So Interesting to see how much.
And I think the guy who caught it was wearing a Barger jersey. I'll go to the experts upstairs. Was he? Okay, well, somebody will tell me, but I think he was. Anyhow, that was pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, there's no question about it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it goes for. It'll be
Might be a nice Christmas for him.
Yeah, Christmas came early for that fan. There's no question about it. Quick look at what we've got going on here. Tomorrow, temperatures are staying on the cold side. The warmest it's going to get is around -9.
All right, that is our show. Thanks for watching. Have a great foggy night.
Watch out for werewolves.